Okay, so Tom Steyer is, if you think Gavin Newsom's bad, Gavin Newsom isn't even really a leftist. He supports leftist policies, but he's an opportunist. He's going to jump on whatever bandwagon boosts his social or his political career. And, you know, he would be, he's more of a capitalist. He runs his wine company, Plump Jack, and he's an opportunist. But Tom Steyer is a radical leftist, like radical, just insane policies from this guy, which is crazy because he's a billionaire and he supports the billionaire tax, which some way he'll find a way to weasel his way out of it somehow. But Tom Steyer wants to put actual ICE agents in jail. And he put out this long article on X. It's just funny because I can picture Tom Steyer being like, I'm going to use this new X article program that they have on this platform now. So he wrote an actual article on X, and we're going to read it here. So California, how California can put ICE in jail. The true test of a leader is not who they disparage and attack, but who they defend and uplift. Donald Trump attacks and robs the most vulnerable in our society while protecting and enriching the most powerful. I've made it clear. ICE must be abolished. ICE is acting like a criminal organization, carrying out indiscriminate racial profiling and using violence, intimidation, terrorism, and the murder of Americans to extend Trump's rule by fear. It's not enough for Democrats to simply engage in rhetoric and stand against ICE or Trump. California must build a system that fights fire with fire. To stop the authoritarian takeover, we must counter ICE head on and go after both their agents on the streets and their leadership within the Department of Homeland Security. You got to fight authoritarianism with authoritarianism. How do we do this? The way we look at the same way that we took on the mob. So he's comparing ICE to the mob. Put ICE agents and their leadership in jail for their crimes, because that's how you take on a violent extremist group and win. Okay, what are their crimes? As governor, I will do the following 5 things. Each point builds on one another to create a comprehensive strategy that gives the state of California the power it needs to take on ICE and win. First, I will go after ICE's modus operandi, using racial discrimination to detain, arrest, attack, and brutalize Americans. I will pass aggressive legislation that builds on current California statutes and allows any law enforcement agency from profiling anyone based on their race, ethnicity, language, occupation, or location. We are done letting federal badges serve as a shield for abuse in our state. Second, I will give the state attorney general, right, Rob Bonta needs more authority, the authority to hold ICE's leadership accountable for violence. My plan will pursue supervisory liability. This body of law empowers the California justice system to criminally prosecute and imprison not just the ICE agents who are committing these crimes, but the leadership directing them to do so. Is he talking about putting Trump in prison? Okay, that question. I didn't say that's what he was referring to there. Third, I will appoint and fund a special investigative unit and work with the Attorney General, who is specifically tasked with enforcing these California laws, including laws related to the conditions at detention facilities. This investigative unit will collect the evidence the Attorney General can use to prosecute offenders and their leadership. Fourth, I will bring those detained and kidnapped by ICE back home by creating a much larger and stronger immigration legal defense infrastructure in our state, funding for more attorneys, investigators, and accredited representatives, as well as legal aid and law school programs to assist and help those who have been imprisoned without due process. So he'll take people that have been arrested for being here illegally, and he will use California taxpayers' money to pay for their lawyers. Okay, that's insane. Getting the thousands of unlawfully detained immigrant men, women, and children the legal representation they need is one of the most direct ways to defend them from deportation. Defend them from deportation. If they're here illegally, they should be deported, especially if they are caught committing a crime. So this would be applied to everybody. this wouldn't just be applied to, the gardener that's been here for 25 years and he's actually a law-abiding person. He's here illegally, but he's a good dude. He's got a family, like that kind of thing. The people that I am actually sympathetic towards, but there's people that are here illegally that commit horrific crimes. I guarantee you that he would pay for the defense of those criminals as well. Okay. Getting the thousands of unlawfully detained immigrant men, women, and children the legal representation they need is one of the most direct ways to defend them from deportation. Data shows that 62% of immigrants without a lawyer are ordered deported, compared to 27% of those who have legal assistance. Backed by expanded protections against racial profiling, legal representation empowers detained individuals to report ISIS crimes to the special investigator and California Attorney General and take the agents to court. So instead of deporting the illegal immigrants, you're going to try to put the agents that arrested them in prison. And fifth, I will launch a massive statewide Know Your Rights public education and public awareness campaign. Every Californian, regardless of their immigration status, should know their constitutional legal rights if you are stopped, detained, or questioned by ICE agents. If you are assembled to protest against ICE, if you are filming ICE agent activities, or if you witness unlawful and illegal actions perpetrated by ICE agents. There is a solid legal foundation for California to expand these protections and prosecute ICE agents for breaking the law. In July of 2025, Judge Frimpong of the U.S. District Attorney and of the Central District of California placed significant restrictions on President Trump's efforts to ramp up immigration arrests to achieve his pledge of mass deportations. Judge Frimpong ordered ICE agents to not rely exclusively on 4 specific factors to meet the legal standard of reasonable suspicion for making the stop: race or ethnicity, language spoken, occupation, and location, the 4th outlined above. But these restrictions were overruled by the Supreme Court in September of 2025. So California should take matters into our own hands. California can extend these legal protections to its residents, not citizens, its residents, despite the federal government's failures. In America, our system of government allows states to step in when the federal government fails to do its job. It means its job, like deporting illegal immigrants. Leading constitutional law scholars have argued that states can and should prosecute ICE agents for breaking the laws, and the United States versus California CD Cal 2-926, Judge Snyder made it clear that California can regulate ICE agents so long as the law applies to the state and local police as well. So what happens when the state passes laws that contradict federal laws? This is about our right as a state to protect our residents. Trump's attorney general refuses to protect our constitutional rights, so the state of California can and must go further to protect the rights of Californians. Extending these protections is a major step forward. It targets the linchpin that holds together the entire ICE machine, their ability to weaponize their authority as federal agents to engage in racial profiling or racial violence. You see how he's playing that race card to try and drum up support for this? In a functioning democracy, we're a republic, by the way, the Attorney General of the United States would prosecute these cases. Under Trump, the United States is not a fully functioning democracy, exercising the constitutional, legislative, and judicial checks and balances the founding fathers put in place, but California is still and always will be. How dare he mention the founding fathers with how often California government tramples all over the First and the Second Amendment? Like just the most recent example, the Nick Shirley law, and them trying to outlaw Glocks. Like First and Second Amendment right there. How dare he even mention the founding fathers? Trump has turned ICE into a criminal expertise. Trump has turned ICE into a criminal enterprise. So let's treat it as such. As governor, I'll go after ICE the way Elliot Ness and Joe Friday went after the mob. Bring them to justice by using their mob basic crimes against them. For the mob, it was racketeering. For ICE, it's racial discrimination. On my watch, California will protect the most vulnerable and bring to justice those who break the law and brutalize our neighbors. We'll let ICE know in California, you obey our laws and respect our residents, or you go to jail. So, like, if you're here illegally, you're technically already a criminal. If you are an ICE agent trying to enforce laws, You're the one that's going to go to jail, and the criminal is going to be protected. That's the way Tom Steyer would run California. And that's just one example of how insane this guy is. Tom Steyer for governor, 2026. Insane. Absolutely insane. All right. Let's see here. Danger. The only thing Tom Steyer will enforce is these nuts. Democrats bailed out murderers and rapists during BLM. So this is on point. Yeah. Notice how he didn't address one problem we have as Californians. Right. Exactly. I mean, like the first thing that comes to mind is just how expensive and how hard it is to get by in California. And everything he just mentioned will cost ordinary legal California citizens more money to defend sanctuary state policies. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.